up so it's just a view of the sun. We don't need everybody and their brother in this video right now. I'm just telling y'all what's going on, people. Give y'all a view of the sunset. That's decent enough. So it's one of the oldest tactics in warfare. There's one that actually they don't know if Sun Tzu is the one that invented this war tactic, or if he's just one that's it's in his book, Sun Tzu's The Art of War. See, everybody's trying to be in the video. I'm not trying to get all these trucks, but hear what I'm saying, people. They have a plan right now, and in order to check this, you'll have to talk to some of the people that were in Vietnam. That a lot of them will tell you some were drafted, some actually enlisted and volunteered to go in. And then there was a lot of people who will tell you, if they're honest, that they were looking at going to jail and they were offered, okay, either you go to jail or you go to Vietnam. Okay? The starving, that's the coercion part. The starving's a different story. We'll get into that in a second, but I want you to know that's basically it's not much of a choice now, is it? But a lot of people did that, and they took that choice, and there was that. So they want this war. They really want it, people, if you knew. And so Biden even said that he wouldn't even be running if Trump wasn't. So here's the truth of it. If Biden wins the election, we'll be at war with Iran. If Trump wins the election, the whole thing will be shut down. But their plan is to have everybody on food stamps and everything else, and then basically shut down the cards. It's all on EBT cards now, right? So it's not food stamps. So it's not like you have something in your hand tangible that you can take to the store and say, okay, I have this. No, you have a card that can be shut down at any moment. And they're going to blame it on Russia and say, oh, the systems are down. It's the same thing that they did when they shut off. I don't know if you remember, it wasn't long ago, they shut off Cash App. I don't know if anybody was paying attention when this happened. Okay. They shut off Cash App digitally. Okay. They also shut off a different type of money system digitally. Okay, just to make it look like there's glitches in the system that caused this, but no, that was on purpose. Okay, to normalize, just like the rolling blackouts in California to raise the rates. Look up Grandma Millie, because they said, oh, Grandma Millie's going to die because she's going to freeze to death, and they were joking about it in the power plant, or in the the company that has the power. At the same time, because they know that they purposefully cut off sectors of power and called it a problem when there was no problem, in order to make the rates go up, say they could charge more, and there was people who needed that power, and some people did die because of it. Okay, that was a scam. Okay, they're doing the same thing right now with different types of credit cards to cause people to believe that it's possible that there could be problems with these cards. Then they're going to shut off people's food, and they're going to say, we don't know what's going on, and they're going to blame it on Russia. And they're going to cut off the internet, and they're going to blame it on Russia. And then they're going to start having drives to join the army. They're going to have these almost like pods, points of delivery service. Only they're going to send people out into the areas where they know that they already know when people are unemployed. It's not just the unemployment office. They already know what people are located where. They know where you're at by your phone, and they know who is underemployed, working 3 jobs, this and that, right? And they're going to offer them the deal of a lifetime. See the world, right? Join the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine. They're going to have a drive. They've already been taking people who were in the military and saying, you're now a recruiter. And like, what? You can't do this to me. I was going to be on off time. No, we need you to show up here now. They're having a college thing, people graduating. As soon as they graduate, hey, how would you like to join the Army or the Air Force or the Marines, or you know what I'm saying? Recruitment drives. And they're like, you can't do this to us. Well, we're sorry about that. We're going to give y'all some kind of little bonus or something, but we need you right now. And you'll make sergeant. Okay. And they're like, ooh, kind of want that. And that affects their being able to get more retirement out of the Army. So all of this plays together. You're going to see that people that were on lesser drug offenses that have been in prison for a long time, that's basically like a bank account for people to be recruited. They are the Army's bank account. Just like in Vietnam, you'll start hearing of people, oh, he was in prison, but they were going to let him out if they would go into the Army for a little bit. That's going to happen. You're going to hear about that left, right, and center. You're going to hear about these recruitment drives. And they know where people are struggling and which towns, and they've kept them that way. They try to keep the poor poor. They never wanted a middle class. The war hogs. Okay? And it's part of what they determine to be an axis of evil. They already have lists of names of countries that are in the axis of evil that they want us to go to war with. So what did they do? Well, Venezuela was one little problem. Russia got in there and this and that. Okay. And so they're working on something else. But look at what happened to Gaddafi. Gaddafi wanted to make a gold standard and have a BRICS nation situation going on. They've already voted out the petrodollar. We can't not go to war unless someone does get back in there who's got some business sense, and that would be Trump. So it's either or. Your vote will put you into war, or your vote will put you into peace. This is just the truth. Okay? And they're going to starve you into this war. They're going to electronically cut off your EBT, electronically cut off the internet, blame it on Russia, and say, don't you want to go fight them now? They cut off your money. And you will be compelled to join up when they do the drives. And they'll say, look, we'll feed you. We'll send you a check. You'll be working. You know, you had no job, but now we'll put you to work. I know there's no jobs. Join the Army. There was a very similar situation even during the war in Iraq. They wanted people to not have so many choices on jobs. And they control the companies. They control the food. They control everything at this point. People who are in BlackRock have divested themselves of it because they know that they have stock in all of these food companies, and the food companies are going into a non-hiring, layoff, and not even hauling freight mode because they were told to. Okay? What they're doing right now is just a couple of soft drink manufacturers, for example, currently. I talked to a guy who hauls the pallets for them. They're barely busy enough with the pallets, but here's the thing. These companies have been ordering these pallets, filling up their warehouses with pallets, and instead of unloading the trucks like they're supposed to, they're letting the trucks sit out here like trailers, sit out here and be their warehousing, okay, full of pallets. So now when they go in there, there's a problem. They're like, I can't get no empties out of this place. It's the same thing with there is a supply store, if you call it that, a place where you would go to buy things that has a bullseye as a logo. Okay, you may think that I've hit the target right there. There's a certain place like that people are taking deliveries into, but they can't get their trailers out of because none of them are being unloaded. The warehouse is full. Their yard is full. Okay? They're stocking up, but they're not sending out. Okay? So while you will have empty shelves at those stores, these places are doing something different. And normally, if it was because of end of the year inventory, or well, they don't think they're going to need anything, they just wouldn't be ordering even the trucks coming in. No, they've got a whole yard full of these trailers like these in front of me that are full of their product or pallets or everything they need, but yet they're not running. So they've been told not to. All of these companies are controlled by people in our government. All of them. All of them. Ford Motor Company made tanks. Why? Because they were told to. Not because they got a contract that was so much better than making cars. They did get paid. Listen when I'm talking, people. They are controlling all of this, and they're shutting off your food supply, and you will be starved into it. To be like, there's no other option. Might as well sign up for the Army. Everybody else is, or the Navy, or the Air Force, or Marine. And where's everybody going? Where are you going? Iran. Where are you going? Iran. Where are you going? Oh well, going down to the Middle East. Where? Iran. where are you going? I'm going. Well, there's this down here. There's a little ocean, a little Strait of Hormuz that sticks out. Oh, Iran. Yeah. Where are you going? Well, they say I'm going to the Persian Gulf. Oh yeah, you're going to Iran. Okay. Like how Russia didn't even tell its soldiers they were going to war when they were sending them to Ukraine. They just said, hey, just get in the tank. We're doing exercises. It's going to be a little different for us. We'll have a heads up. But what are you signing up for? Are you signing up to see the world? So, and now recruiters are not getting bonuses. It's not about recruiting. Okay. It used to be if a recruiter recruited someone, say they recruit 10 people, and only 4 of them make it through basic training, right? They still got credit for 10 people. They would say, well, hey, that's something to do with, there was nothing wrong with that guy. That was something to do with the training they got, make him recycle him, send him back through, whatever. They could say, but they wouldn't even come to the recruiter on that. They wouldn't even send on him. That was all completely on training. Well, now a recruiter only gets their numbers for people who stay in and make it through basic. Okay? They're looking for the able-bodied broke people. Like the song goes, why they always send the poor, why they always send the poor, right? Or the one that says, it ain't me, I ain't no senator's son. Some people were born to wave the flag, but they don't have to go. You see what I'm saying? Or Copperhead Road, where he says, signed up because might as well, you're going to get drafted anyway. Yeah. So they want this war. I'm not saying one way or the other. Part of it's depopulation. Part of it's they're not getting what they want, and they've already marked off all these countries as the axis of evil countries. They've already named them all a long time back. Bush Sr. gave out the list. So Gaddafi's gone. Saddam Hussein's gone. The next one to be gone will be the Ayatollah. And Russia will only step in enough just to cause trouble, but they've got their own problems because they're trying to do this thing where they need that. I told you they were going to go for the water. I told you they were going to invade. I told you they also they're going to nuke the whole thing in a straight line. Listen to what I'm saying, people. They made the announcement the other day. Russia said, we're going to be doing training in case we get hit by nukes. We're going to start training our troops with tactical nukes. No, they already had them on the battlefield. The reason they're saying that is because they know they're going to let one off and blame it on the other side as a false flag, and then they're going to use them, and they're going to continue what they already did. Chernobyl was done on purpose. Okay? Draw a straight line from Chernobyl going east. And that's what you're going to see is a straight line, and it's going to jut down. All they want is access to the Black Sea so they can have a Black Sea fleet, right? So then what are they going to do? They're going to nuke a straight line, tactical nukes, create a diversionary tactic, but at the same time create a wall and know that troops are not going to want to go through there or be there, so they feel a little safe, but they really do want to keep as much as they can of Ukraine because they can drill sideways, and all of that oil that was discovered down there recently will make them richer than all of the kings in Saudi Arabia, more oil and more money than United Arab Emirates has, and you know they're rich. It will be, it's what they want. So this guy here is just going to park right in front of me. So, try to spare you guys a little bit of, there, we'll put it right here. So just hear what I'm saying, people. Russia has got a vested interest in Ukraine for the oil that's going to make them completely rich, even if they just hang on to Crimea, but then get a straight shot to the Black Sea. That's why they built that bridge. That's why the bridge is going to be destroyed. It's already been hit a couple times. I already said it. I can't wait till the thing goes down. You'll see it. It'll go down. So, yeah. Let me see if I can move this device over here. That's even better. So, sorry for the blackout. That's what's happening right now. I got this guy in front of me that messed that up for us. So, so we're going to be fighting, and the problem is, if you look at the population of Iran, it's so large that we have to have a draft. And if you look at China, in order to counter them, we also have to do something. So, because we don't know what they're going to do next. They are a wild card. They never tell people what they're doing, but I'll tell you what they have done. If you think that this fentanyl is not a problem in this country, I can explain why it's a problem. Okay? Basically, it should have never been allowed in, but when China lost Hong Kong a very, very long time ago, the reason they lost it, and the only reason that they were conquered by the British, is because the British brought drugs in. Okay? And they got all of the people hooked on opium in China. Okay? That is how the British were able to conquer parts of China, and Japan actually went over there and fought them too at one point. But getting them all on opium was a tactic. Okay? China is returning the favor with fentanyl. They are trying to get the entire United States hooked on fentanyl. They're putting it in rolling papers and that sort of thing. This is not like how when the CIA tested out and got a bunch of people in California hooked on LSD and all this. This is worse. Okay? That stuff is very addictive. They're even saying that if you find it in your car door or anywhere, don't touch it because someone could abduct you afterwards and this and that. They're putting it on paper and it goes in through your skin. So there are people that, instead of when they're selling drugs. And they've got all these marijuana companies out here now that you just about get it. So you got to watch in that situation the papers that you get, because they're lacing these papers with it and getting people hooked on that mess. And there's also there's some of them that are mixing it in with that and selling it. And so you would think you're getting one thing, getting another. That's why recently Snoop Dogg just said he's stopping smoking, period. I would bet you money either someone put that on him, or he was threatened that that would happen, or whatever, or he found out about it. A lot of people are seeing this and saying, wait a second, it's not just that anymore. You see? Because, I mean, do you think that Snoop Dogg needs to take a drug test to get a job or something? No. Like everybody else does, okay? And I have no interest in any of that. I'm just telling you what's going on right now. China did this as part of their 1,000-year strategy. Okay, they have a 100-year strategy too. They want to eventually get everyone in the United States either mentally damaged by lead paint on children's toys, mentally damaged by the fentanyl, or mentally damaged by them calling and having their 50 Cent army slow production, stop this, and hurt wages, and this type of thing. And every single company that works in China, even down to the manufacturers of drones and this and that, they are all beholden to their government, and they have to report to them all information. So if you are on Temu, they're taking your information. If you are on TikTok, they are taking your information, and they're using your biometrics against you. They are currently, if you do 23andMe testing to see who you're related to, right? What haplogroup you're part of or whatever, they're using that against you because they're creating engineered bioweapons, just like COVID was. COVID was a weapon that was a ill bill of sale, whatever. That was actually, it killed more Chinese people because that's what it was designed to do, even though they bought it thinking it would kill more Americans. So then we make it look like everybody's dying of COVID here, so that it's, oh no, it was for everybody. No, they had millions and millions of people die in China, and all their cell phones are piled up, and they have proof of it because they have to have a cell phone so they can be tracked by the government, and they have to have the app on there. Okay. So they know how many really died over there, and they don't have a clue that how many people died over here. That in itself, they released it. They released it at the military games. It was released earlier than people know. Okay. And it was actually designed to kill more of them. They have been designing bioweapons to kill more of us. Okay. And they have them. Don't believe they don't. They do. So while you were doing 23andMe, you were giving them DNA and pregnancy tests as well. They've used pregnancy tests that you mail in. They've used that information. They sequenced your genome, and they sent it back to China. All of these companies that are owned by China. And China was trying to buy up a bunch of our farmland. Okay. This was a war tactic as well. They were going to buy it all and not use it and shut down all of the food supply. Kind of like what's kind of going on now, only instead of a throttling back, it was going to be a shutdown. In order to make this make sense, you have to understand that even our own government pays farmers, okay, to keep the prices at a certain point. They pay farmers, and it used to be that they would pay them to farm a little extra, or give them money for extra land to have more cotton or more tobacco especially. Now they pay tobacco farmers to set aside pieces of their land and not farm it at all. Just to not farm it, they get paid money. So they get paid money on their crop. If their crop fails, they get money from them. And then also they get money for that however many acres that they pay them not to farm. Okay? It wouldn't make sense if you didn't understand the kind of control they're trying to have over things. Okay? So that our market doesn't tank and they don't lose money in the stock market, because the market's based on the crops. So some are based on tech and this kind of thing. You're talking the NASDAQ. I'm talking about the S&P 500. Okay, so understand Most Standard & Poor's, okay, in case you don't think I know. So most stocks are based on agribusiness, and even the tech stocks, they're all heavily invested in it. All right. So China had a plan, and it's part of they have a 100-year plan, but they have a 1,000-year plan. They want to make us so dumb that we can't even defend ourselves, and then they think they're going to be able to come in and invade. They already have even a base in California. Let's not even talk about that, but whatever. We can't go there. They can, right? And we retrofitted it. That was, yeah. Anyway, the whole thing is this. Things are going to get difficult. Places are going to be laying off and not hiring. You're going to have an option to go to Iran. And if you don't want all of this, you can vote for Trump. And who knows if it'll actually go through, because they controlled the voting machines last time. So what can you do? Not a whole heck of a lot more than that. I hope we make it through to get to the election, to be honest. And this guy's going to be famous. Just saying. Maybe I got it low enough, high enough, whatever. So I appreciate the like. I'm just telling it like it is. I'm telling you, they're going to starve you into signing up. So, and look up Sun Tzu's Art of War and start reading into it, and you will see that in order to motivate an army to move forward, one tactic is to cut off their supply line and starve them. Okay? Similar to Grant even did this. I believe it was when he went to, let's see, was it Grant? No, Sherman, my bad. Sherman did this. Sherman's march to the sea. People think he burnt the bridges behind him. He did that, and they were trying to not have their camp filled with, and him have to feed all of, basically the slaves were following him because they're like, hey, we're safer off being around y'all. But then he cut them off and did them wrong. Okay. He was actually court-martialed, whether you know this or not. Sherman, look that up. But Sherman's march to the sea, okay, scorched earth policy and burning bridges behind him, okay. People say you don't burn your bridges. It's because they know what he almost starved if it hadn't been for the Navy meeting him down there. They were out of everything, but it motivated them to move forward. So then what were they doing when they were moving forward? They didn't want to starve, so they started ransacking people's houses and stealing their chickens and everything else. You see what I'm saying, people? That is what will happen. So, I would say, like I said, that I would stock up on some staples right now, food-wise. They're trying to starve us into submission. Like the way Joe Biden said it about the shot. You know, we've been patient and this and that. They have control, but they only to a point of where their patience runs out, that they will make it seem like they're not in control, and then they will assert their control. They are now motivated to assert their control. Our entire Navy is down there. People, it's on. It's been go time for a hot minute. So when you start hearing people getting out of prison but going into the army, okay, or seeing the recruitment drives in places where they just happen to have just closed up a plant or this or that, oh, but we're going to come in and help. They created that in the first place. They closed down the plant. They shut it down. Just like paying people not to grow crops. They will pay companies to not hire. Can you get that? I'm going to leave y'all with that. Y'all chew on that. It's been done before. There's nothing new under the sun. God bless you. I'm going to get off this thing. If anyone wants to make any comments, you can make comments. And I don't even know if I have it set up for comments. I ain't touched this thing in a while. I've got to, at some point, get in here on YouTube and check out some settings and stuff. Things have been messed with. I already know that. I've known that for a hot minute. So we're going to keep going until they cut off our fuel. That's another thing too. It's a little bit more of a motivation if they start cutting off the pipelines for propane and this and that, natural gas. If you're, I call it natural gas, not propane. And if you can't have heat, yeah, I see your comment. It really is. I'm just telling it like it is. I see visions and I tell truths, and I know history. I don't know baseball scores. I don't know football scores. If I did, that's the type of channel this would be. I'm a healer. I have a sensing and a knowing. I tell people what's going on, and I see visions. I've already seen what Russia's going to do. I told them they were going into Ukraine. It helped them. It helped us. It did help us. Me telling that. I know that that was actionable intel. So while the Russian general was lying about that, and I told him, no, they're going in. They're building a whole base. They're doing all this stuff. I also told about the undersea cables. They're going to cut off the internet with the undersea cables, and we may even actually have Russia do that so we can get into the war. You think that's crazy? What's crazier than that is us giving uranium to a country that uses it to make nuclear bombs against us and build hypersonics. That happened too. Uranium won. Let's see, I got another comment here. I'm scared back O2R because if war breaks out, they'll probably block highways. Well, here's my situation. I am OTR, but something may change. I'm going to look at it sideways. Right now, these next few weeks are going to be uber tough. They're going to try. Part of it's coercion from the companies too, but they're told what to do. I'm telling you, people, they're told what to do. And BlackRock owns everything. Okay, there's two companies, BlackRock and one other. But for BlackRock to say, okay, we've decided that we're not going to invest in our own company, even their CEO dumped God knows how much stock. I could put links up to these guys that check into their stocks and stuff and know what they're doing and know their portfolio, right? And I'm telling you what's true is the CEO of BlackRock just dumped 4 different times a bunch of his stock. Let me try to get this thing to, that guy messed up my focus. Plus it's getting darker. Sorry for the horrible view. It's just where I'm at. This is where I can give you the word. Y'all, people know my channel. So, yeah, if you haven't been going over the road, I wouldn't, honestly, at this point, I wouldn't go more than 2 states to 3 states away if you're trying to get back to a certain point. Me personally, I could deal with, it doesn't matter where I wind up, I'm going to be fine. I know that don't sound like it makes any sense, but I know people in every single state of this union. I have places that if I was stuck, I could either get back from or just stay right there and thrive. Okay. But I can understand people got to get home to their homes and this and that. But some of these companies are giving people no choice but to keep working for next to nothing. I'm a little ahead of the curve. I say a little. But some of it's causing undue stress and angst. They need to anger the public and they need to make them hate people in Iran. Okay? It's what they do. Like Bruce Springsteen's song about Vietnam and talking about going to kill the yellow man. They have to make that group, they have to make you in a way racist or hateful against them. They have to teach you a slur that's against them. They have to make you feel in their heart like those people would kill you or in your family if you don't kill them. And they have to make you feel anger. Okay? So that you're motivated to kill them. Because they've got the home field advantage if you're in their country, and so they're defending something they believe in, and they have religion on their side or their homeland on their side or whatever they believe in. That okay, you shouldn't be here, right? It's an incursion. So the motivation of the country that's invading, they have to change the mindset of the people, show them things the other side has done, even if it's propaganda and not true. Okay. And right now, it's Iran. I'm just saying, it's the axis of evil countries. You can just basically mark them. We already knew that it was going to be something like this. And I mean, don't believe me. Where's our Navy at? Okay, the whole Navy. Okay, Gerald R. Ford, the carrier, and its whole group. The others, all of it is piled on down there. At this point, they could create a false flag just from one ship bumping into another one. Okay? Let's see here. And we all think that just because we're America, we can kick anyone's behind. It's not anymore since Trump left office. Military is taking a backseat. Yeah, here's the problem. We're outnumbered in Iran by people. Our recruitment level and numbers are down. Yes, we have the technology. We could turn the place into a parking lot. But because of rules of engagement, because of, let's just say lots of reasons, okay, that we can't just go and decimate a country, requires it to be boots on the ground and requires it to be conventional warfare. Okay, unless that other side is stupid enough to use nuclear weapons, and they're not. Now, Iran has them, and they might use them against Israel, But, if they don't use them against us, even though we're an ally of Israel, there's a problem there. Okay, and people don't realize that there's a whole international court right now. Russia, okay, Putin can't even go to another country right now without being arrested. He's been able to be allowed to go to some of these other places, but some countries will actually extradite him because he's already been convicted in absentia and tried in absentia and actually been found guilty of war crimes for killing the people in Ukraine illegally. But he thinks he has a legal standing because he's a lawyer. He's not a general, he's a lawyer. Okay? He was also in the KGB. So he's not allowed to go to other countries already, right? There's a whole international court that governs any type of war crimes, this and that. Saudi Arabia, I believe it was, I don't know who was it that brought up George Bush, and he wasn't allowed to go to other countries for the same reason. So hear what I'm saying. They all have rules they have to go by. It's not just the Army's rules of engagement. It's these countries have rules they have to go by even to invade another country. They can't just say, well, we got all these other countries behind us that are on our side. We can go and invade a country. They have to go by the international code and all of these treaties to say they did this first. So they're creating false flags at this point. But if we just go in and invade Iran just because Iran went against Israel, it could be something that could find the United States guilty in an international court of doing this and that, and then our people could get in some really deep mess over that. So let me see here. I'm trying to read this. I've got the brightness down here, but let's see. Drayberry, let's see. Oh, yes, I was wondering how he was able to go to the UAE a few days ago. It was mind-blowing. Yeah, the UAE is actually okay. They're frenemies. We work together because of OPEC and because we buy their oil, and they know it. And we help them by ripping off the American people and making us pay more for fuel than anywhere, even though other places pay 15 cents a gallon. So, but Russia has agreements with them also. Okay? Russia right now is going around to all their friends and saying, are we still friends? That's what they're doing. They're saying, hey, y'all with us on this thing, right? Because when the United States says this, you know what they're... And they're going around and trying to make friends, and they're trying to drum up support for their own country in the event of this war. And they're even telling them, you know that the U.S. will hit you too, or this, that, right? You see what he did to Gaddafi, all this. Yeah, so... Gotta turn the switch on, move this mirror. So that's what Russia is doing right now. Russia's trying to gain support for what they already know is inevitable. Okay? And basically we made it so they had to invade Ukraine because we cut off the water supply to Crimea. It's the oldest tactic in the book. The Romans used it. You cut off a city's water supply, in no time they will either surrender, or you could go in and take them over if they don't. In the Bible, they cut off the water that went under the gates of this one place, and it went in a tunnel system, and so they just cut off the water and they marched in under the tunnel. Where there used to be water, now there's a place for men to walk. Okay? The writing was on the wall. The prophet of God told them, this very day you and your sons are going to be killed and all this stuff, and this is a message from God, and there you go. And they didn't believe it. They're like, how could we fall? How could we fall? We've been attacked so many times. We've got these great walls. They're all drinking and everything else. And then there you go. They fell. And then the attacking army's general, basically their leader of the country, their king, told that prophet, listen, because you were honest and told them what was going to happen, and because you were not exactly against us, we're going to set you up and, let you live and set you up. And he was already protected by God. God's people are protected by God. The people that see things, the seers, people with gifts. So, but they'll tell it like it is, just like I'm telling it like it is. It's not that I like it. I don't even like knowing what I know. I didn't choose this. It was put on me. It is a gift. But I see things are going to happen before it happens. And because I love this country, I'm talking about it and telling it. And if they put it to where it's, I get 1 million views, whatever, I don't need that. I just want to talk to the 5 or 10 people that's in charge and let them know what's going on. This is me talking to the pinnacle. Anybody else in here, that's cool too. You should know what's going on. But I'm just telling them straight up. This is the outcome. Same as Elijah and Elijah. My gift is on the same line as that. So they told their kings what was going to happen. So I got a lot of love for this country. I don't like the direction it's going, but we got to steer from below decks. I'll tell you that again in case somebody ever missed that story. But basically, there were a bunch of people who were chained below decks, and it was their job to row the boat. The oars were in the water, and they're rowing and told to row, and they're given command, and they rowed in time. So they all go straight. But up above, okay, the captain of the ship is running them straight into the rocks. And they started to see out the holes the direction they were going, knowing the area, and said, wait, we're going to hit the rocks. It was as clear as the Rock of Gibraltar. They knew the area. And so while the captain's going full speed ahead, they're like, we're going to hit rocks. There's rocks right here. And knowing that if they did anything different than they were told to do, that they would be beat with a whip. They'd get lashes for it. They could even die from the infection. It could be really painful. And yet, they chose to steer from below decks. One side pulled in all the oars, lifted them up. The other side shoved the oars straight down in the water and stopped rowing, and they turned because of it. They were chained below decks. They would have drowned. So they saved their own lives, but they were beat for it. But they averted the danger. So we, the people, are steering from below decks. That's what you have to do. It's time that the people stand up like they're supposed to and steer from below decks if you have to. That's what I'm doing. So we're going to make this world a better place. Spread the word, tell what's going on. If you see something, say something. Just like I said, that's why they're watching all the water tanks. That's why they're watching all the power substations, because they already know we're under clear and present danger. Okay? We have a real situation at hand. Sorry about that. I had to do that. And there have been credible threats that are actionable that they need to watch out for, because they've let these people into our country in the first place. But some of them were the Spetsnaz people from Russia that's already here. I'm going to say this, though. If we have a war with Russia by proxy through Iran and they jump in and it's this whole mess, no matter what happens, let me kill that out. No matter what happens, I'm claiming right now all the Russian truck drivers, we got to keep them. And I'm asking all y'all truckers to understand that a lot of them, they're here, just like the Sikhs. They're actually doing good work. They deliver, they're on time, they're doing the best they can to get along. They wear tracksuits, you can tell them they're a little different. But other than that, listen to what I'm saying. I'm claiming them. It's like Red Rover, and they came over. I'm claiming them. So you don't get them back, Russia. This is just a straight up word to Russia. Russia, if you think you're going to be able to reclaim your guys that's over here in the event of time of war, no, we're keeping the truck drivers. We're keeping the Russians that's over here driving and delivering and being on time, other than the shell companies that you created over here, because we know about them too. If you think we don't know, and you have a couple of guys that work for you that might be American, but you treat them like crap, and the rest of them's Russia. We know those shell companies. However, man, we could take them over. We're keeping the Russians. That's what's up. We like our drivers. They're doing good with us. They're working with us. As long as none of them suckers are double agents. Yeah. So, yeah, they're Americans now. Yeah, that's right. We're keeping them. So you get it. You see, we work together. The people that are here from Russia are trying to make America great again. They're trying to help out. They're trying to be part of the supply line. They get it. They don't want to go back. You know, they've got them right now that are crossing into Alaska. They had 2 guys the other day on a ship. That's the first time that ever happened. Not really, but the first time that they put it on the news. And they had whole droves of them came over at one time. They didn't know what to do with them. Yeah, listen to what I'm saying. Alaska is our new New York. We might as well go ahead and put a Statue of Liberty up there and say, give us your Russian, your poor, your tired, your huddles of Kremlin. I'm going to make up the whole tablet at the bottom of the Statue of Liberty that it says, give us your tired and poor and huddles of masses. No, it'd be, give us your Russian, your Cossacks, your tired of Putin. Bam! I just titled a whole new. That's got to be on the plaque. If somebody builds a Statue of Liberty up there, that's got to be on that. Your Russian, your Cossacks, you're tired of Putin. Your huddles of masses yearning to break forth into a new nation that's conceived in liberty and peace and freedom. Welcome. And you just put welcome in Russian. Just somebody put up a sign in Alaska in Russian that says welcome. You know what I'm saying? Because we get it. There are people that are trying to leave a dictatorship, that they don't want to be in a war. They're having to kill other Slavs. Those are their cousins. Okay, Ukraine, that's their bread basket. That's where the food comes from. They're bombing the fields that have been feeding them for years. And it's the same thing that the ones that killed Anastasia and the whole Romanov family and murdered them. Okay? They murdered the Romanov family and took over. Those are the same ones that behind the Romanovs' back attacked. They killed all the people in Ukraine before because they were doing well as farmers, because they always had food, because they grew their own food and they had this grain. They went in there and stole their grain, and they had no seeds to plant the next year and hurt themselves because of it. And that was the government that went in and did that. Imagine if the government went out Midwest and started shooting all of our farmers and stealing all their grain. That's what Russia did. And Putin is a part of the whole party that did that. And they're doing it again in Ukraine. Ukraine is their bread basket. Those are their farmers. Whether it's a different country now or not. That's where the food comes from. A lot of Africa's food comes from. That's why they're starving now in places in Africa, because the food's not getting there. And then Russia stole a bunch of it. And then they said, oh, now we're giving aid to these countries. That's stolen grain. It's blood grain. So yeah, there's people wanting to not fight Ukraine because those are their cousins. They're intermarried. They have family reunions. That was part of Russia. But even back when it was a part of the Romanov family's, lineage and their reign, okay, even back then, they were attacking them and killing them then. Because there was an old idea that those people are a different group, just like how Saddam Hussein attacked his own people, okay? And there was one that was Sunni and one that was Shia, and because they were different, he decided to kill them, and he killed them all with mustard gas. So it's the same thing that Russia's doing right now. Let's see. Then we got to have you on our podcast called Common Censored and American First. You are extremely knowledgeable. I appreciate that, brother. A lot of people have offered for me to go to Reddit and stuff. I just haven't been loading. I'm telling it like it is. But some of this, like I said, I see visions. I talked about the Russian subs that they have that were going down and doing stuff. And look, some of the stuff I shouldn't be talking about, so I don't. Okay? I only wait till it's in the media. Okay, because if they've already talked about it, they sort of kind of want it out in a gentlemanly way. You know what they do. That's their gentlemanly truth. Like, they can't say that we didn't tell them we were going to attack if they decided because we put it on our newscast. But it was only one newscast on a Saturday or a Friday, right? They let things out on a Friday so people can't really complain about it during the week, So, but I got things popping. I appreciate the invite to the podcast. I'm not against it. I'll check it out. I'll make a comment. It'll be trucking stuff, something, right? But I'm going to tell you, and I stay busy until lately. Let me tell you something. They're going to be messing up if they don't give me freight, because they're going to have one hot mess of a ball of wax on their hands. Like wax, hot wax in their hands. Because at that point, I'll have time on my hands and nothing better to do. Okay? You want to talk about a crazy podcast? That would be, man, look here. I've already got a soundproof room ready to go. You want buffer music? I've got a piano in there. Listen when I say this. I've already been planning to build a podcast. If they mess around and give me time to do it in a time like this, and it's because I'm sitting there and I've got nothing left to lose, this could be an ill-conceived notion. This could be a bad thing to do. I don't highly recommend it. Better keep me busy trucking. Because straight up, I'm a think tank in myself. I can outthink the think tanks. Just like I just told you, they're going to starve you into war. I'm not trying to be braggadocious in any way. I'm just telling you straight up that I don't know football. I don't know baseball. But my abilities, okay? My abilities are off the hook. The things I talk about are from knowledge and years of experience, period. You cannot, just like a car, you can make a 4-cylinder really fast, but you can't change the fact that if you've got a higher displacement engine like a 454 or, more horsepower, bigger pistons wins every time, no matter, because you can put more on it, right? Okay. And you're not going to mess with a big block, right? Okay. Once you understand that, and man, it's the same thing. When someone's got years of experience and they understand things, I hold my truths to be self-evident, period. I'll put my truths up against anyone's over a 4-year time span, they will see what has happened and they'll look back at what I've already said was going to happen. But some of this is visions, and I don't claim to even have the ability to know anything about it. I didn't understand why Russia was going to have ties with Iran. I was so confused about it, and I put it up there, and I was like, but I don't understand why, people. I seen this vision, and it's got to do with Iran. What's Iran got to do with Ukraine? The drones, the weapons, and a later deal that Russia was going to come and side with them during this campaign. So definitely going to be, yeah. Hey, I appreciate you, brother. I'm going to get off this thing because I don't mean to grandstand or waste people's time, and I just got the green light. I'm ready to roll. But I have been informed that I won't have freight. This could be not very good for those who might not want to really. I'm just saying straight up. I'm going to have a look. If they mess around and give me time to build my podcast, I will have a website that pays me about $5,000 a month just for the people that are going to give me advertisement. I could talk to every trucking anything that wants to. It's called becoming a partner or whatever. You it'd take me 45 minutes to create a paycheck. You understand what I'm saying? Just by what I already have about teaching people how to fix their truck, putting that on a website, and then having a podcast. And it could be about that, but then I'll also have another podcast. And then there's going to be posting full tilt. I've already named channels that I haven't even done anything to, just to get the name. I can create domain names. I could have 5 different channels. And then now that there's TikTok, and now that there is, what's the other one? TikTok and something else. I could have like 1 million followers in 30 minutes. And just by talking to you, I could just let you know about my thing, and then you could put a link to it. Lord God, we have to send you a prayer up to the Heavenly Father for freight and for your safety. Brother, I hope you get. Oh yeah. Oh, and if they bring it, they could bring it, because I'm gonna tell you straight up. I don't know if you know the story about the guys from who the guys who were actually operators, who were the ones that were in the movie 13 Hours, Tig and Tonto Peranto and all them. They sent somebody to Tonto's place that was supposed to take him out. It's my understanding it was Tonto Peranto. It might have been one of the other ones. And he broke their arm. He saw him and he shut down all the lights, okay, at his house. And so it's in the dark, and these people come to kill him, okay, because he was actually doing, okay, security detail for the CIA. That was his job. Okay. And he was debriefed into not do this and that, and they sent someone to kill him. He was at his house, and all of his lights were on in his house. But when when they breached his perimeter, okay, he was aware of it. And he acted upon this. And he turned off all of his lights, because that's what you do, so they can't see you. And then he got the drop on the guy. He broke his arm. And he told him, if you come back, I will kill you. And he sent him on his way, and he said, you tell them, don't send anybody else. So, bon chance. That's French for good luck. That's where I'm at on that one. No fear. Move forward. Know what you know. Be well versed. And don't take any crap off anybody. We're going to make this country better if we have to steer from below decks. And anybody that comes after those who are protected by God, he'll get them. But they might want to think about the consequences in the meantime, because there's instant karma that's actually attached to people. Because if you have the gift to pray and you have the gift of healing, that same energy is compounded by about 100-fold, where someone could actually die later from you touching them today. And I don't know if you understand how that works, but I'll explain it. I'm just going to take this camera down for a second. We're having too much traffic. Okay. Rasputin was a healer. I'm not sure if you've heard of him. He was in Russia and he healed the Romanov family's child. It just happened to be the Romanovs too, right? Their child had an issue of sickle cell anemia. And he went in what I call sessions, and he prayed for this child in sessions. That meant it was required for him to go and go again and go again. But every time he did, the boy miraculously would be healed. Now, he was known for healing horses. He would pray for them, and they would lose their pain. I have this gift. It's a little different than what he had. I'm going to say this, though. He was close to God, and yes, he did bad things because he was a man. But at the same time, our guys sent over there Houdini. Houdini, the magician, was sent over there, and he was to be a magician and to entertain. But at the same time, Houdini was also told by our government to get information, and if he could, to actually to do something about Rasputin, but at the same time to find out what's going on. And okay, so Rasputin was in the presence of Houdini while he was doing tricks for the royal family, and Houdini said, any man can punch me in the stomach, and he had this thing that he would do. He could tighten up the muscles on his stomach and he could take a punch. The problem is Rasputin was a healer. Okay? Rasputin said, okay, I'll do that if you're sure. And Houdini said, yeah, hit me as hard as you can. And Rasputin punched Houdini in the stomach. And Houdini took it. And Rasputin was a little surprised, but not taken aback, because he knew he was a healer. And later, not that day, but later, Houdini died from internal wounds that were caused by that hit. So I would say this: it's not ever advised for any man to come against a chosen child of God, especially not a healer. And I'm a healer, and I don't hide that. So God bless you, people. I'm gonna get off this thing. Like I said, there's so much traffic. These people are just trying to be up in this video, and you can understand why I'm not really trying to show some of these trucks, but just trust me, and just trust me. But God bless you, people. I'm gonna get off this thing. This guy's fixing to move again. I'm gonna have to hit this. So he's going that way. That's good. I'm gonna check out your last comment too. Yeah, no, he was a magician, but they hired him because of his abilities. Okay. However, he died because of Rasputin's abilities. Rasputin didn't kill him that day. The blow killed him later. It was from internal bleeding from that problem. That's the problem with messing with a healer. So it's never advised, never. And it's not, I don't call it anything that I can claim. There's divine protection of God. There's my hedge of protection of angels. And then there is God's will, period. And you're not going to stop God's will. And if God's will is that a healer has a job to do, you're not going to be able to hurt them before God's will is done. I don't believe God's will is done with me. So like I said, I would not advise. I'll say this though. I would be worse than that to someone. I would honestly, that have, they may not be able to walk away. They can be carried away. They'll live. But I don't know if 4 broken bones is enough. You know what I mean? I prove a point. Maybe it's part of my problem, to be honest. I wouldn't know when to stop. But I'll tell you, I don't think that a person, I mean, they have medics bring gurneys. I'd rather be a healer. It's better for me to be a healer, because it's too bad for anyone else that would make me put me in a position on a battlefield where I'm not in a position of being a healer. I pray for my enemies that I'm able to continue to be a healer. You understand where I'm at? You're supposed to pray for your enemies. I pray for my enemies that they stay away from me. That's my prayer for my enemies. So, but people, I'm gonna get off this thing. That's just the truth of that. That's absolutely what happened. I know it. I asked the question and I got the answer, is how I know it. Okay? Rasputin was not a man to be messed with, because the light of God was upon him and he was made to heal. You don't try to make an enemy out of someone that's supposed to be healing. It's not a thing to do. But anyhow, but I bless all of my enemies. I bless them with my lack of my presence around them. That is my blessing for my enemies. And my prayer for my enemies is that they never come across me in a dark alley. That is my prayer for my enemy. I really do. I truly pray this. So, yep. God bless you. I got to do some moving. And there you are. So, loaded up a truck and I'm out. Peace.